And I remember one summer in particular, it was especially bad. It felt like half the state was on fire. And after the fires were finally put out, I remember getting to drive up one place where we had been able to see basically the glow of fire. I didn't live in the mountains, but close enough to them that you could see in the night sky, you could see the glow of the fires, a couple, 20 or so miles off. You could see the glow of the fire in the night sky. It was oppressive, it was miserable. And I remember after the fires were out one summer, I was able to drive up one of the valleys. And what I expected to see was destruction, cinders, a smoking ruin, a place of misery and death. But imagine the surprise when, as I drove through that valley, it was more lush and green than I'd ever seen it before. In fact, oftentimes forest fires harden the bark of certain breeds of trees. There are certain pine trees that the cones only open under intense heat. When the fire blazes through, it leaves behind certainly destruction, but not long after that you find life springing forth with greater vigor and abundance than you can imagine. It seems a contradiction to us. We think death and fire and smoke and judgment and destruction is going to be the permanent story. Yet that's not the sort of story that God tells in creation or in redemptive history. This chapter that we've just read might seem a bit mundane. You might give me a gold ribbon for reading all the names. But we find here, in the midst of this mundaneness, this listing out of the work crews of the people at work rebuilding the walls, we find here an excellent portrait of God's people at work for His glory after the blazing fire of judgment had fallen. What we would expect to find in our cynical mindset would be, it's just going to be a ruin forever. Jerusalem will lie a reproach forever. But here, in this chapter, we see the sprouting of a new work. We see the greenery of life bursting forth. We see the power of the Spirit at work in the midst of God's people.